I wasn't always like this. I'm 34, a mother, a wife, and also a mistress. A woman with 2 homes, 2 men, and not a single ounce of regret. My official life is in a neat home in Toronto. It smells like laundry detergent. My kids eat on schedule. My husband, Mark, walks through the door at exactly 6:40 every evening. He's a good man. Maybe too good. Safe. Predictable. Like a Swiss watch. And then I met Ethan. It happened during a 3-day work trip. Same hotel. Same elevator ride. I don't even remember what we talked about that first evening. I just remember one thing: for the first time in years, I felt like a woman. Not someone's wife. Not a role. Just me. Every Tuesday, I tell Mark I have a late shift. I put on my work shirt, pack my lunch, and drive away at exactly 7:40. But halfway there, I turn off the highway, toward the small town where Ethan lives. My other home. My other life. He thinks I'm divorced, with a son from a previous marriage. I don't lie much, I just remove details. When I arrive, I take off my wedding ring in the car, wipe the pale mark off my finger, and tell myself, "You're not a wife right now. You're a woman." And Ethan believes it. He looks at me like I'm fire. And I burn. Then it happened. 6 weeks pregnant. Sitting on the edge of my bathtub at Mark's house. 2 lines. Not panic, adrenaline. By then, I had already built the perfect cover story: depression. First came the insomnia. I'd set an alarm for 2:30 in the morning and wander the house. Then loss of appetite, though I ate in secret. Finally, I told Mark I couldn't stand being touched. That every touch felt like static electricity on my skin. He apologized. I wore oversized hoodies, shapeless pants. By month 4, I told him I hated my body, that I even felt dirty in the shower. He believed me. I said the city made me sick. The noise. The crowds. The constant pressure. I told Mark I needed peace, that I just wanted a little time away to clear my head. He didn't argue. He offered to take care of the house and the kids, told me to stay with a friend for as long as I needed. That friend was Ethan. Ethan thought I was broken, a woman starting over, someone who'd been hurt and just needed safety. He liked the idea of saving me. And I let him believe every word of it. I gave birth in a small private clinic. Ethan held my hand and cried when our son was born. We named him Adam. It should have been the happiest day of my life, but I didn't feel joy. Not in the way Ethan did. I just felt in control. And so it went on for 2.5 years. 2 homes. 2 beds. 2 phones. Sometimes I slipped up sending "love you" to Mark when it was meant for Ethan, or forgetting to remove my ring before walking through Ethan's door. But they both thought I was tired, overwhelmed, fragile. It worked in my favor. A year after Adam was born, Ethan decided it was time to settle down. He rented a bigger place, bought a crib, set up a workspace for me so I could freelance and be near the baby. He didn't know that, at the same time, Mark and I were picking out backsplash tiles for the kitchen remodel in our Toronto home. Adam was growing fast. He called Ethan Dad without hesitation. At home, with Mark, he called him Uncle. It wasn't an accident. It was a message. Then, one afternoon at a parent-teacher meeting, a woman approached me. "I know you," she said. "I don't think so," I replied. "You were in the hospital. With a tall man, dark eyes. You went by Sophie then, didn't you?" I left before she could say another word. And then Ethan found it, a drawing. Just a simple picture my older son had made. Our family, all together, with names written in shaky letters: Mom, Dad, me, Lily, Adam. I had stuffed it into a book and forgotten about it. When I came out of the shower that night, Ethan was sitting with the book open in front of him, the drawing in his hand. "Who's Mark?" he asked. "Someone from before you," I said. "And after." "Sometimes." "You mean I'm not the only one?" "You never were." He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He just put the drawing back in the book, stood up, and walked out of the room. He didn't come back that night. I went back to Mark. He didn't ask questions. He cooked dinner, washed the dishes, and acted like nothing had changed, but he never looked me in the eyes again. One night, I woke up to his voice in the dark. He was talking in his sleep, his voice low and trembling. She lies to everyone." The next morning, he came to me with a folder in his hands. "I applied for a transfer," he said. "A quieter town. Near the coast. You always said you wanted peace." He had already picked out a house. Showed me pictures: a kitchen window looking out onto pine trees, a small garden, a quiet street. He was trying to give me the life I once said I dreamed of. But I didn't want it anymore. That week, I started packing, but not for the move Mark had planned. I took only what mattered: a single backpack with documents, some cash, and a change of clothes. No family photos. No wedding ring. Not even a phone. I'd been ready for this for over a year, an escape bag hidden at the back of my closet, always waiting. Mark went to work as usual. The kids were at school. The house was quiet, almost too quiet. I walked from room to room, not touching anything, just looking. The smell of coffee in the kitchen. The soft hum of the fridge. The faint creak in the floorboard near the hallway. It struck me how much I knew this house, every corner, every shadow, and how little it meant to me. On the dining table, I left a single blank sheet of paper. No words. No explanation. No apology. I didn't want to give anyone closure. By the time the bus pulled up, the winter air stung my face. I climbed aboard, choosing a seat by the window. The driver didn't ask where I was headed. I didn't ask either. Somewhere. Nowhere. The city blurred into gray. Office buildings faded into suburbs, then into empty stretches of road. I watched as the world outside became less familiar, and yet, I didn't feel lost. For the first time in years, no one was expecting me. No one knew where I was. I wasn't someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's lover. I was no one. I could already hear what people would say if they knew. You're a monster. You abandoned your husband, your children, your life. But they'd be wrong. I didn't leave them. I left the version of me that lived for them. I left the constant performance, the lies, the balancing act between two worlds. I thought about Mark, how he'd try to piece together what went wrong. I thought about Ethan, wondering if he'd tell himself I was just afraid of love. And I thought about my children, not with guilt, but with distance. They'd grow up. They'd be fine. They'd forget me eventually. The bus rattled on, carrying me farther into the unknown. My reflection in the glass looked different already, almost like a stranger's face. I leaned my head against the cold window and closed my eyes. For the first time, I didn't feel the need to go back. I wasn't running towards something, and I wasn't running away. I was simply gone. When I opened my eyes again, the sun was setting, washing the fields outside in a deep orange glow. The bus had stopped twice for passengers to get on and off, but I didn't move. I didn't even check where we were. There was no destination anymore. I thought about all the years I had spent moving between two lives, playing a role in each one so perfectly that neither man suspected the depth of my betrayal. It wasn't love that kept me there, it was control. I had controlled the pace, the narrative, the emotions in both homes. If I wanted comfort, I went to Mark. If I wanted passion, I went to Ethan. And when I wanted silence, I disappeared into myself. Now, though, there was no one left to control. Just me, in a half-empty bus heading to nowhere. The bus pulled into a small roadside diner, the kind of place where the coffee is always burnt and the pie has been in the display case too long. I stepped out, stretching my legs, feeling the sharp winter wind against my cheeks. Inside, the place smelled of grease and cinnamon. A waitress in a faded pink uniform gave me a polite smile and asked if I wanted coffee. I nodded, sitting at the farthest booth, my back to the wall. Old habit. Always watch the door. As I sipped the bitter coffee, I realized I had no phone to scroll through, no one to text, no one waiting for me. The quiet wasn't unsettling, it was intoxicating. I was free from the weight of being needed. I stayed there for an hour, watching strangers come and go. A truck driver reading a newspaper. A young couple holding hands and whispering. An old man eating soup alone. Nobody looked twice at me. That anonymity felt like the most precious thing in the world. When the bus was ready to leave again, I climbed back on without asking where we were going. I sat by a different window this time, watching the lights fade behind us. In the dark reflection of the glass, I searched for the woman I used to be. She wasn't there. I thought about Mark's face when he'd find the empty house. He'd walk into the kitchen, see the blank sheet of paper, and maybe understand that it wasn't a note, it was the absence of one. The silence would say more than words ever could. Ethan would probably assume I had run back to my husband. That would soothe his ego, make him believe he had been the one I truly wanted but couldn't keep. Let him think that. It was better than the truth, that I didn't want either of them. And the children. I imagined their confusion at first. The questions. The reassurances from relatives that mom will come back until, one day, they stop asking. That's how memory works, it fades when you stop feeding it. The bus rattled over a bridge, and I felt the weight of the water below us, endless and dark. I realized I could disappear completely if I wanted to, change my name, move to a place where nobody would ever think to look. I had the money, the documents, and the will. As the night deepened, I leaned my forehead against the window, feeling the hum of the engine through the glass. I didn't know where I'd wake up tomorrow, and for the first time in years, that thought didn't scare me. It thrilled me.